Hi there. I wanted to share kind of some thoughts I had around what happens when people get artist block. Like why is it really happening, and how can you identify that and what to do about it? If you don't know me, my name's Katie Bourgeois, and I'm an artist. And I had artist block for 9 years, and I've done a lot to study it and try to understand it. And so what I see happening is that people, for whatever reason, they will have a break in making art, or they will begin to feel blocked. But it doesn't have anything to do with like some lack of inspiration, or the muse has left, or there's something wrong with your art, or there's something wrong with you as an artist. It's never that. It's always that something happened in your life. So it could be that you went through a life transition. You got a busy full-time job. You became a parent. You maybe just went through a hard time emotionally. You had some mental health issues. It For me, one of the things was I was in an emotionally abusive relationship, and that's not something I talk about very much, or I don't think I really mentioned it ever. But that was one piece of it. For me, that was like one layer. I think that might have been like the thing that really pushed things over the edge. But I also moved, and I no longer had a studio space, and I had been, disappointed by my lack of success as an artist for the first few years out of college. I could go on and on about all the like different things that added up. But anyway, there's usually some sort of a break, like, you move, you lose your studio space, something, you're going through a tough time. And then eventually you resolve to get back to making art again. You're like, okay, I have artist block, or I've, fallen out of the habit of making art and I want to get back to it. Now, this is what happens. Once you finally like gather yourself and you're like, I'm going to do this, and you march down to your new studio space or your kitchen table, wherever you're making art, and you sit down to do it, and you start having these voices in your head like, I'm not sure I'm really a good artist, or what if I lost my spark, or I'm not sure what to make, I don't feel inspired, what's the point of this, I'm not that good, I don't really have time for this, I'm never going to make it as an artist, artists are poor, I need to, do all these other things, clean the house, whatever. And all of those thoughts about basically doubting yourself, that doubt is like the biggest like creativity crusher out there. To be creative, you have to be kind of shameless. You have to be in that mode of like play and exploration, and almost not caring about the outcome, or not caring enough that you can experiment and try something new. So when we have those feelings of doubt, we start to like contract and constrict ourselves and in our minds, and we start to question every little thing, like, should I take that green paint, or maybe I should take that blue paint and put it here, or is that color good, or what about this composition? And I'm not saying that you're never gonna have doubt while making art. Obviously that's part of like the process, is you're always working out what looks good or what doesn't look good, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. But when it becomes so heavy that every decision you make feels like it's going to be a failure, or you're worried that it's going to not come out well, then that is what is really giving you artist block. So, all that being said, if you've gone through a tough time, if you've had a break away from your art, when you come back to sit down to make art again, really tune in to those voices in your head and what you're feeling. And I want you to give yourself like a long time, like at least a few months of just seeing everything as an experiment, seeing everything as learning again, seeing everything as just like, I don't expect it to look good. I don't expect to be inspired necessarily. I'm just trying different things, working out new ideas. I'm playing just like a child would. When I first started painting again, I was kind of inspired, but I was more just like trying different things, and none of them quite had that like juicy like intensity that like really deeply inspired art might have. But I was just warming up. I was just getting used to things again. I was discovering what I was interested in, and you discover what inspires you through the process of making art. I want you to really let that sink in. It's not coming from out there, although you can definitely draw from art history, contemporary artists, the world around you for your inspiration. That's part of it. But what keeps you inspired and what gives you that drive is engaging with the work, and that can take time. So if you're giving up after just, a few tries, no, it might take several tries. It might take months before you start to gain momentum and really find your voice, and that's okay. That's normal. So during those months while you're building that, don't make everything so important. Don't make everything like, oh, I'm either good or bad. I'm either gonna like pass or fail. No, just see it as play. Just see it as exploration. Just see it as a big experiment and get involved in the process. Focus on the feeling of making art, getting clay between your fingers, or the way the paintbrush moves on the paper. Focus on those sorts of things, and your natural curiosity will lead you to where you need to go.